basketball to volleyball, CPHS 6 covers the sports. Exciting local high school and community sports can only be found on CPHS 6. Home entertainment with a touch of class.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to CPHS Channel 6 Cablecast. It's Northern against Port Huron High. A very belated Happy New Year to everyone. It's been a while, Randy, since we've been able to bring area basketball to our viewers.
Well, we haven't done a game in about a month, Eric. Hopefully you and your family had a nice Christmas, and it's good to be back doing the games for Channel 6 CPHS.
Yes, it's in the teens, possibly below 10 tonight as far as the outside weather, but inside it's heating up.
Well, Eric, to coin a phrase that you've used over the last couple of years, it's very cold outside, but it's very hot inside tonight in the Port Huron High Gymnasium.
It's Northern, 10-1 on the year, 4-1 in the Red Division of the Macomb Area Conference against the Big Reds, 4-6, and they've struggled at 1-4 in the league. But Randy, as you and I know from experience, records do not mean much when these two teams play.
You're exactly right. You can throw the records out. Port Huron High was in the same situation last year and defeated Northern both times. And I know that's going through both coaches' minds right now. And again, I think we're in for one whale of a ball game in front of a very packed full house here tonight.
As expected, this week a big week for area basketball. Over 1,300 fans present at Northern when the Huskies came up just short against Utica Ford. Tonight, it's packed here at Port Huron High as the Huskies and the Big Reds do battle in a big Red Division contest in the Macomb Area Conference. We'll take it now to the voice of the Big Reds, Mike Mullins.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Port Huron High School and tonight's Macomb Area Conference Red Division battle featuring the host Port Huron High Big Reds and the visiting Huskies of Port Huron Northern. Ladies and gentlemen, before we have the introduction of tonight's starting lineup, we ask that everyone please rise, join the Port Huron High School band in honor of our country as well as our brothers and sisters, sons and daughters, who are now serving the Persian Gulf, as the Port Huron High band plays our national anthem.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Our national anthem, of course, in honor of our men and women doing their duty in the Persian Gulf. Big Reds and Huskies tonight. Randy, give us a summary, what we can expect.
Well, I think for Port Huron High to be effective tonight, they should use full court man-to-man pressure against the Huskies. That's what Utica Ford used their advantage and pulled off the big win against the Huskies on Tuesday night. You see a little different starting lineup for the Big Reds than you're used to. I think that's to spark some of the players. You see, for instance, Ryan Mullins in the starting lineup tonight, as well as Dwayne Ward. Again, they're both the seniors. Give them some senior leadership. For Port Huron Northern, they've got to forget about the ball game Tuesday night. Just go back to the basic game plan. They've been almost perfect all year. They're 10-1, averaging over 80 points a ball game. Again, if Port Huron High can keep it close, I think we're in for a good one. But they've got to stay with them early or it could be over.
Well, the Northern Huskies have been pointing to this one for a long time. Last year, these two teams tied for the Eastern Michigan League Championship. Of course, the Big Reds victorious twice over the Huskies. Our officials tonight, as assigned by the Macomb Area Conference, Jack Morris and Bill Brown out of Detroit. We're set to go. Bloomquist and Edwards, and the tip goes to Powell for Northern. Off to Jamison. Around the horn now to Powell. He looks inside to Jamison. Dumps it off to Blake. Good! Pass and a bucket. Nelson Blake for the first 2 points of the ball game.
Very nice dish pass there by Brian Jamison. Totally all-around ball player, totally unselfish.
Correct myself, it's Blake Nelson. Tony Haskins now off to Michael Miller. Edwards pass goes into Edwards inside, taken away by Nelson. Powell now across the timeline. Brian Jamison. Inside Hatton's pass to Powell, goes up strong, no good, and Edwards clears the boards for Port Huron High. Off to Haskins, run and gun for the Big Reds. Pass intended for Mullins. Ryan Mullins underneath, thrown away, turnover Big Reds.
That's a big ball game. Both teams a little tight, especially the Big Reds. Of course, it looks like a cheerleader there got hurt on that errant pass. But you see Port Huron High early with 2 quick turnovers. They can't afford to do that. They've got to be more patient on offense. Looks like a few players are standing around and get the ball inside to Dwayne Ward or Anthony Edwards.
And some attendance being given to the Port Huron Northern cheerleader as unfortunately hit by the errant pass thrown away by the Big Reds. 7:01 to go, first quarter, and Northern with the early 2-point lead.
What we've seen early, Eric, is both times with Brian Jamison dishing off underneath and Andre Powell missing the bunny underneath. The passes got in very low for Northern, and Coach Eddie Peltz has called his troop over. He doesn't like what he sees early defensively. There's been a few picks underneath that they're being caught, and the Big Reds are going to have to start switching on defense.
Well, we're going to break in the action here, Randy. Let's talk a little basketball. How's the old City Recreation team doing?
Well, we're doing quite well. I'll turn it back over to you on. We've got the latest report on the health of the cheerleader.
Okay, well, she's fine, and she gets right back in there as competitive as the basketball players are, of course. And we're certainly glad to see that she's okay. Jamison now, top of the key, pass off to Hanton, goes inside to Bloomquist. To Powell. Powell shot over and taken by Michael Miller. Guarded by Hanton, top of the key. Reverse dribble. Off to Mullins now. Ryan Mullins guarded by Brian Jamison. How many times have we seen that?
Eric, nothing's happening inside for Port Huron High. Everything's coming from the outside. Northern's content to keep them out there.
Haskins thought about it, gave it off to Edwards. Now it's back to Tony Haskins, guarded by Powell, top of the key. Big Reds having trouble offensively. Give credit to the Northern defense. Now they get it inside to Moneyman. He jumps up short, and Bloomquist clears the boards. And the Huskies now on the run and gun, stripped away by Ward, taken by Edwards. Tony Haskins now as the Big Reds go into their half-court offense. Into the paint, pass taken away by Nelson. And a whistle traveling will be called on Brian Hatton as the Northern Huskies were on the break.
Tony Haskins, a little guard for Port Huron High. He's trying to make things happen on the penetration drive, but so far he's picked up 3 quick turnovers himself on errant passes or traveling violations. Again, he's the floor general. He's going to have to play a little bit better ball game here tonight.
Ryan Mullins looks into the paint, and the Huskies with that very stiff defense. Now Haskins, three-point range, now takes the top of the key. Michael Miller guarded by Hanton. Into the paint, loose ball, and a whistle. And the foul will be called on Brian Hanton on the block.
Well, even though Port Huron High hasn't been able to get anything done underneath, it is to their advantage to work the clock the best they can to keep the numbers down. If it's a low-scoring game tonight, look for the Big Reds in an upset. If you get up in the 70 or 80s, it'll be Northern.
5 and 20 and counting. First quarter, only 2 points up on the board. That was Blake Nelson early going. Mullins goes inside to Ward. Good pass, goes up strong. No good, cleared by Bloomquist. Off to Jamison. And we're running. The shot up, yes! Northern by 4. The Big Reds yet to score. And they have, this season, Randy had trouble getting going early.
Nice individual move there by Michael Miller. He's the senior. He took things into his own hand, and the Big Reds break the drought.
Jamison from three-point range. Short and out of bounds to the Big Reds.
Well, Brian Jamison, even though he didn't like that shot, is a very consistent three-point shooter, and that's not going to discourage him. Look for him to put up at least a half a dozen of those tonight.
Ryan Mullins from three-point range is off the rim, no good. Haskins on the board. Goes inside, loose ball. Bloomquist clears for Northern. Off to Jamison. Now it's to Hanton across to Bloomquist. Up! And a whistle. The foul will be called on Ryan Mullins.
I always say this all the time, Eric. There is such a thing as a good foul, and that was a good foul by Ryan Mullins. There's about a 5-inch height advantage there. It was an easy 2 points. He hacked him over the arm. He didn't get the points. Now he's got to go to the free throw line. A very good foul by Ryan Mullins. Also credit Brian Hanton and Jamison on the break there. The ball never touched the floor, and that's how to run a fast break.
Well, you know, Randy, with the crosstown rivalry, half this gym is from Northern, and of course, if Bloomquist dunks it here in Big Red Gymnasium, boy, we got ourselves a rowdy crowd. He puts them both down, and it's a 4-point lead, 6-2 for Northern. Mullins, loose ball, and it's going to be picked up by Nelson off to Jamison. Jamison goes up, no, Bloomquist on the board. He goes up, and the foul will be called on Dwayne Ward.
Again, Anthony Edwards on a nice block made Brian Jamison hurry his shot a little bit. Again, Anthony, all Dwayne Ward could do was foul him or give up the freebie underneath. Again, Port Huron High unofficially 6 turnovers, 6 too many here earlier in the game. I look for Coach Eddie Pels to insert a little bit more offensive strategy for the Big Reds, and Jeff Zuloff or Brian Coleman have to come in this ball game shortly, and Terry Miller.
Todd Bloomquist misses the first. He'll get the second, fouled in the act of shooting. And this one goes for Todd. It's 7-2 now, Northern, with 3:55 first quarter. Haskins, top of the key, guarded by Powell. Off to Miller. Miller shot off, no, short, and Jamison on the rebound. Powell now across the timeline, running gun for Northern. Todd Bloomquist goes strong in the paint, dishes it off to Nelson. Shot from 10, yes! 9-2 now. Northern has stretched it to a 7-point lead.
Well, it's good to see Blake Nelson get in the offense here. He's already got 4 points. Again, Blake's a strong player, 6'4" senior, and again, it just depends on how strong Blake comes to play. It looks like he's come to play tonight.
Ward's shot, no good. Tipped up by Haskins, no good. Mullins on a good rebound. Faked up against Jamison. Shot is good.
And that's why Ryan Mullins got the start tonight. He's small, but he's muscular. He hustles after all the loose balls. Good ball player, good athlete.
Jamison from 10 feet goes on a nice pass from Blake Nelson. Northern again by 7. Haskins guarded by Powell. Dwayne Ward inside, up off the glass, good. Hanton goes inside to Powell, off to Jamison. Jamison in the paint, shot up, no good, loose ball, picked up by Nelson. And the foul is going to be called on Anthony Edwards, number 54, a 6'1", 200-pound senior.
And that's 2 for Anthony Edwards. I'm pretty sure he's going to have to take a seat here. We're still in the first quarter. He's too valuable a player to pick up his 3rd foul. And we see some substitutions now for both teams. We'll try to set them out for you as soon as we can.
In the ball game for Northern, number 40 is Bobby Wright. He's a sophomore, plays a key role here now with Norman Cosgrove out for the year because of that knee injury. 44, Priest Hayes on the floor for the Big Reds as Hanton now. Shot is good. Good defense by Scott Thomas, but Hanton puts the shot in from 12, and Northern's up again by 7. Anthony Edwards goes up, blocked by Bloomquist. Picked up by Jamison, we're off to the races. Brian Jamison goes strong, shot. The foul will be called on Scott Thomas, number 10 for Port Huron High.
Eric, I can't understand. Anthony Edwards had about a 10-foot jump shot, looked at the basket, waited, and then when he decided to drive to the basket and went up for the 5-footer, got swatted away by Mr. Bloomquist underneath. Again, you've got to take a shooter's mentality out there, and again, with only 6 points being scored, someone's got to start picking up the offensive slack here for the Big Reds.
Number 34, Jeff Zuloff into the ball game, replacing Edwards. Brian Jamison gets 2 shots, misses the front end. Also into the ball game now for Northern, number 34 is Chris Hall as Brian Hanton takes a breather. The money man for Northern, they call Brian Jamison. Bloomquist on the board, up and good.
You can't have that. Jamison misses 2 free throws. You'll never see that happen again, but then there's Todd Bloomquist in the right place at the right time for the Bunny.
Northern now by 9, their biggest lead. 1:38 to go, first quarter. Scott Thomas in the paint, puts up the shot, off the rim, no good, and Bobby Wright on the board for Northern, off to Jamison. Over to Powell, he goes up to the hoop, no, but a whistle and a foul will be called on 44, Priest Hayes.
Well, this is why you see Northern averaging over 80 points a ball game. When they get the ball, they take it right to the basket. They're either going to get that layup or they're going to get fouled. And again, Port Huron High in early foul trouble here, where Northern's only committed 1 personal foul still in the first quarter.
Dwayne Ward now back onto the court for Port Huron High. Also, number 40 is Carlos Ellis.
You know, I'm very surprised here, Eric. 2 players that usually start for Port Huron High, Brian Coleman and Terry Miller, who are basically more than half of the offensive show. We have not seen them yet for the Big Reds. I don't know what the problem is. I hate to speculate. But again, I think for Port Huron High to have any chance at all to be a factor, both those players are going to have to get in the lineup here soon.
We've got a discrepancy at the scorer's table. And they're talking things over with Mr. Morris. Appears to be a discrepancy on the number of fouls and perhaps who the fouls are on. At any rate, the Coach Hanton and Coach Peltz have been explained to by our referee for tonight, and we're set to go. 1:25 to go, first quarter. Northern 15, Port Huron High 6. Really, Randy, a vintage Northern quarter.
Again, Port Huron Northern, up until Tuesday night, was rated 9th in the Class A State Associated Press poll, have been number 1 in the Times Herald Coaches poll all year. And again, you're seeing that so far here early tonight.
Andre Powell puts the first of 2. Andre, a 6'2", 270-pound junior guard for Coach Hanton. Tony Haskins now. Top of the key, guarded by Powell. Goes into the paint, takes it up, no good, loose ball, and it's Jamison with it, off to Chris Hall. Now it's Powell. And they'll set things up with Brian Jamison, top of the key. Bobby Wright now looks inside. Pass tipped away by Ellis, taken by Haskins. Off to Jeff Zuloff. Zuloff goes up, and a whistle. A foul will be called on Hall for Northern.
Well, that's the first fast break opportunity here tonight for the Big Reds. Tony Haskins saw Jeff Zuloff streaking down the middle and selfishly gave the ball up. And again, I say a good foul because, again, it would have been an easy 2 points for Jeff Zuloff. And again, you see Jeff off the bench there. He'll be, I think, the spark that Port Huron High needs so desperately here offensively.
That's a good observation, Randy. Port Huron High is known for its run and gun basketball. Northern, of course, very successful this year with that. And Northern up 17-6, and Port Huron High has had troubles this year in the first quarter offensively.
Well, they've lost 3 ball games by a point, and you're exactly right. They've gone into halftime down a lot, and have had to fight back in the second half. They're a second half team, Port Huron High.
Jamison with an errant pass. You won't see that too often. 42 seconds to go, first quarter, Huskies by 10. Ryan Mullins now, guarded by Jamison. Off to Ellis. Ellis guarded by Bobby Wright. Jeff Zuloff now. Inside 20 seconds and counting. Big Red's content to run the clock down for that final shot of the quarter. Mullins goes inside to Ellis. Ellis turnaround shot is blocked by Bloomquist. Off to Hall. Bloomquist. Hall from three-point range, in and out, and the buzzer will sound. The end of the first quarter. It's Northern 17, Port Huron High 7. Big Reds trailing by 10.
Well, a vintage quarter for Port Huron Northern as far as Port Huron High is concerned. Again, we're having our scouts check out the reasons why we haven't seen Brian Coleman or Terry Miller yet. But again, they're just right now in the lineup. You've really only got Jeff Zuloff and Tony Haskins who show all type of offensive prowess for the Big Reds. The other players are all good players, are all defensive players. Again, being down 10, they're going to have to insert somebody. Somebody's going to have to take charge, whether it's one of the juniors or the seniors on the team. And they're going to have to take charge here early, Eric, or we don't know what's going to happen.
If you're Coach Ann and a Northern fan, you got to like the fact, even though Port Huron High struggled, I'm going to give credit to the Northern defense. 7 points.
Again, you're not going to skunk anybody, so I mean that's almost as good. Again, they've got some quality talent. It's a senior-laden team. They've been together for 3 years now, and they've gelled all year long.
Big Reds get the ball on the possession rule as we start the second quarter. Michael Miller guarded by Blake Nelson. That's a tough assignment for Blake. Dwayne Ward, Haskins wanted to get a step on Hinton, forgot to put the ball to the floor, and he's called for traveling.
Well, Tony knew it. You notice he didn't even look back at who blew the whistle. He just set the ball down on the floor.
Jamison now, top of the key. Looks inside, tipped away. Blake Nelson from 16, no good. Bounded down by Ryan Mullins. Mullins guarded by Jamison. Off to Dwayne Ward. Looks inside, no good. Haskins now guarded by Hinton. Tipped away by Jamison. Michael Miller goes up against Bloomquist, no good. Gets his own board, no good. And Brian Jamison clears, and Michael Miller's going to be called over the back on the rebound.
Well, Coach Peltz at the end of the first intermission inserted Michael Miller back into the lineup again. One of the leading scorers for the Big Reds. You saw why there. He got a shot, he missed it, he got his own rebound. Unfortunately, it hasn't been Port Huron High's night so far. And again, he got called for over the back against Brian Jamison. And again, we just started in the second quarter. Northern already in the 1-1.
That's Michael Miller's first foul. The team's fifth, at least. Northern's in the bonus. Northern's only been called for 2 fouls. Bloomquist goes up strong. And Dwayne Ward and Todd Bloomquist have words.
Well, we got a little talking going on there between Carlos Ellis and Bloomquist. Referee Jack Morris talking to Todd. I don't know. I don't want to say who the instigator was, but again, it's a heated rivalry.
Yeah, they're both getting talked to. They're both. Priest Hayes will come in and perhaps let Mr. Ward cool down just a bit. Bloomquist to the line. He'll shoot 2. First one is good. Todd's second shot is in and out. Rebounded down by Mullins. Northern by 11 with 7 minutes to go, second quarter. Michael Miller, top of the key, guarded by Blake Nelson.
Again, Eric, Poirier and High run a little weave. I guess that's what you call it. They just have somebody's got to step up and do it offensively.
Priest Hayes in the paint, goes up, and a whistle will be called on number 40, Bobby Wright. Bobby, a 6', 215-pound sophomore forward for Coach Hanton.
Well, maybe Priest is the one that's going to take charge. Maybe you heard me out there. Somebody's got to do it, and somebody's got to do it quick.
On the floor for Northern now, 50 is Rob Dawson, a 6'5", 200-pound junior forward, and he'll give Todd Bloomquist a rest, a well-deserved rest at this point. He has been a monster on the boards.
Todd Bloomquist again, next to Andy Brody of Utica Ford, probably the 1 or 2 best players in the MAC Red Division this year. Ever since Todd's had that knee brace off from last year, he's been a different ball player. I've got to believe Todd's getting at least some small school recognition for some college offers.
Michael hits them both. It's the Northern Huskies still with a 9-point lead. Bobby Wright from 18, short, rebounded down by Bobby Wright. Loose ball now picked up by Mullins. And how many times you see that, whether it's on a football field or a basketball court? Mullins shot blocked by Jamison. Blake Nelson gets the loose ball. He's hemmed in the corner. Out of bounds to Northern.
Well, both teams aren't afraid to use their bench. Poirier and High early in the season was going 5 in, 5 out. We haven't seen that. They've kind of modified it to a certain extent. Poirier and Northern, ever since Norm Cosgrove has been hurt, they've seemed to have used a few more people to get them a little bit more experience in the lineup.
Brian Hanton pass into Blake Nelson. Turnaround shot, good. Boy, what a nice shot. Blake Nelson from 12, and it's Northern again by 11. 5:35 to go, second quarter. 20-9 is our score. Miller takes it in the paint, turnaround shot off the rim, no good. Loose ball picked up by Bloomquist, but let's see what we got. And the whistle's going to be called on number 40, Carlos Ellis, for Poirier and High.
Well, Micah Miller, again, he's trying to get him into it offensively, but some poor shot selection. A couple of turnaround jumpers there. He's got to face the basket or at least get the foul, and we see some substitutions now for Coach Eddie Peltz.
On the floor now for Poirier and High, number 20 is Tony Haskins, 34 is Jeff Zuloff, 32 is Scott Duckworth, number 10 is Scott Thomas, and 52, Dwayne Ward. For Northern, 54, of course, is the big man, Todd Bloomquist. He'll shoot 1 and 1. Tony Powell's 24, number 42 is Blake Nelson, 32 is Brian Jamison, and of course, 44, the fine athlete, Brian Hanton.
Now this is one man you don't want at the free throw line, Todd Bloomquist, averaging 22 points a game and a whole bunch of rebounds. Again, it's almost automatic.
He puts them both down, and now Northern has stretched its lead now to 13 with 5:20 to go in the second quarter. Haskins guarded by Hanton. Dwayne Ward from 12, no good, and underneath. The foul is going to be called, I believe, on number 42, Nelson.
That's about the only thing I can say negative about Blake Nelson's game is that he has a habit of getting into early foul trouble. He fouled out of the Utica Ford game, he's fouled out of a couple. Again, a good all-around athlete, and again, Northern coach needs him to stay in the ball game.
Bloomquist with another block at the defensive end, and Northern's on the move. Pass intended for Bloomquist, out of bounds. Port Huron High on the turnover. Loose ball picked up by Powell. Jamison across the timeline, off to Blake Nelson, inside to Hanton. Hanton from 18 short. Out of bounds to the Big Reds.
Well, basketball is a game of spurts, and we're looking for Port Huron High to put on their first spurt, and once they catch a little fire, and all it's going to take is probably one three-pointer or a jam underneath. So let's look and see who's going to do that for the Big Reds.
Actually, Randy, it's quite quiet here at Port Huron High, considering the fact that this is Northern and PH. You know, Northern up by 13. They're on the move again. Pass taken away by Zuloff. Jeff from the free throw line. Jumper no good. Whistle. And the foul is called on Dwayne Ward, and that's unofficially number 3.
Well, I think one of the reasons why the crowd's been quiet is because even though it might look like half and half, you've got the Port Huron High band here, but they, again, 9 points in a quarter and a half. There hasn't been a whole lot to cheer about. It hasn't been a textbook game. There's been a lot of turnovers on both sides. But again, if you're Coach Hanton, you like it a lot better than if you're Coach Eddie Peltz right now.
Into the ball game for Port Huron High. Number 12 is Steve Gilbert. Also, number 32, Scott Duckworth. Anthony Edwards on the floor, also giving Dwayne Ward a rest. Blake Nelson puts the first one down. The second one is short, loose, picked up by Bloomquist. Jump shot off the glass, too strong. Loose ball, Bloomquist up, no good. Tipped up, no good. Jamison up, no good. Bloomquist in the paint, he goes up, yes.
Too much power on the boards there. Give the Huskies credit. 4 or 5 shots. Again, they're 10-1. You can't give them that many shots. They're too good of a basketball team.
Unreal, both offensively and defensively. Zuloff up, draws the foul against Nelson. 3:40 to go. 25-9 is our score. The Huskies well in command.
Again, credit that play to seldom used guard Steve Gilbert. Gets his big chance. Sees Jeff Zuloff break underneath for an easy basket, and even though Steve didn't pick up the assist, credit him with the planning of that play, and Jeff Zuloff will go to the line to shoot 2.
Jeff Zuloff, a 6 foot, 175-pound senior. First shot is no good. A little moisture on the floor, Randy. We're gonna soak it up a bit.
Well, we've had a few stoppages in play here. Jeff's got to hit this free throw. Port Huron High hasn't gone to the line that often. They've only with 9 points. They've got to make them all count.
Second shot also just a bit strong, and Bloomquist clears for Northern. Bobby Wright now. Hanton all the way to Jamison. Jamison looks inside, now gives it to Powell. Powell back out to Hanton. To Bobby Wright. Stripped by Edwards, taken by Paul Gilbert. And stolen by Wright. The Bloomquist shot! Yes! And the foul will be called on Anthony Edwards.
Now, Eric, that was not a good foul. If you're going to foul him, you got to make sure that he does not get the easy basket. He got the basket, 3-point play. Todd's already got 12 points, 27-9. Again, maybe Coach Eddie Peltz will call a timeout here pretty soon.
3-point play for Bloomquist now. Northern up by 18 with 3:12 to go in the first half. Haskin guarded by Hanton. Edwards looks inside now off to Zuloff. Zuloff in the paint. Pass and nice play into Duckworth, and he scores 2.
Now that's what Eddie wants to see. Nice pass and dish.
Powell shot from 12, yes. Now the pace is picking up just a bit. Duckworth shot short, rebounded down by Jamison. Jamison, long pass for Hanton. Hanton goes in, knocked away by Haskins, but a foul will be called. Brian Hanton will go to the line for 2.
I made the comment earlier, the lower the score, the better chance Port Union High would have staying into this ball game. It's 30-11. The pace is too quick for Port Union High. Again, we hope to have some information on Brian Coleman and Terry Miller at halftime for you. And again, I know as they patiently sit and wait for their turn on the bench, I'm sure they're agonizing over what they've seen so far here in the first half.
Priest Hayes back into the lineup along with Michael Miller. Ryan Mullins also back on the floor for the Big Reds.
It's one thing you learn early, you win as a team and you lose as a team. It's a team sport, and I think unofficially that might be the lesson that Coach Eddie Peltz is trying to display to those 2 ball players.
Brian Hanton for 2. First shot is good. Over the years, of course, we've had the privilege of bringing the talents of Brian Hanton to you viewers, both from the football field as well as the basketball court. Brian, a 6'2" senior guard for the Huskies. Good defense by Andre Powell. At the top of the key now, Zuloff off to Mullins. Mullins takes it in the paint, dishes off to Edwards. Edwards goes up with a shot from 10, yes. Andre Powell to Jamison. Jamison looks inside, nice pass into Hanton, off the glass, no good. Gets his own rebound, no good. Tipped up again, no good. And finally the foul will be called. That's going to be on Chris Haw. And again, Randy, Northern with 4 and 5 attempts at the offensive rebound.
Well, beautiful no-look pass by Brian Jamison and Brian Hanton underneath, just like football, right? Only this one there's a receiver to the quarterback instead of the quarterback to the receiver. And Brian got his own rebound. He got it out twice, but couldn't seem to bang in off the glass. And for the first time, Port Union High boxed out a little bit better defensively. And again, Priest Hayes goes to the line.
1-1, shot up, good. It's Northern 32, Port Union High 14, 1:51 to go in the first half. Priest Hayes with the second shot as he makes the first. It is also good. And now Andre Powell content to slow things down just a bit and let Northern do its half-court offense. Hanton all the way across to Jamison. Jamison goes up to the paint, good! Nice soft shot, Brian Jamison, and Northern still up by 19.
Also, did you notice that with the left hand, Eric?
Trademark of a great player. Michael Miller showing his individual talent there into the paint and scores. As we approach the 1:15 mark. Jamison, pass inside to Wright. Wright goes up, short, loose ball, tipped up, good. Bobby Wright gets the tip in. Inside a minute now, first half. And a 5-second call will be given to the Big Reds. Credit Brian Hanton with the fine defense. Turnover, Big Reds.
Well, Michael Miller put on a nice dribbling display last time down the court, beat Brian Hanton to the basket for a nice individual move. But that time, credit to defense. And again, 5-second violation. The 14th turnover, first half over to Northern.
Bobby Wright now guarded by Michael Miller, off to Andre Powell. Powell, and he's going to be called for the shuffle, traveling, and the Port Huron High Big Reds will take over following the turnover.
No team has used a timeout here yet, Eric, in the first half.
Inside a half a minute, 36-17, Northern enjoying that 19-point lead. Anthony Edwards, spin dribble, shot up, no good. Nelson clears for the Huskies. Powell now with 15 seconds and counting. Off to Bobby Wright, over to Blake Nelson. Off to Jamison, Jamison inside to Bloomquist, easy bucket for the Huskies. Nice pass, Jamison, 21-point lead. Hayes goes up, no good, and the foul will be called on Bloomquist. To the line, 44, Priest Hayes for Port Huron High. That's Bloomquist's first. And you know, that's an important factor here in the first half, Randy. Northern not in any foul trouble whatsoever. That just their 5th foul of the first half.
Good point, Eric. Again, Coach Hank can come back in the 3rd and 4th quarters with everybody, nobody to worry about. And again, they played just terrific defense here in the first half.
Right, and Port Huron High doesn't go to the line 1-1. They're struggling offensively anyway, and they keep them off the foul line. Full court shot is far off the mark, so the first half comes to a close here at Port Huron High. It's the inter-city rival, the Northern Huskies 38, the Big Reds 18. Randy, first half comments.
I wouldn't want to be in the Big Reds locker room right now. I expect Coach Eddie Peltz to give his players a good old Bobby Knight tongue lashing. I don't think he's like what he's seen. I think you'll see a totally different Port Huron High ball club, or I hope you would see a totally different high ball club here in the second half. If you're Coach Hanton, again, you're very pleased. You can't let your players, of course, know how pleased you are. But again, we still got a half to play. It's not over till it's over, and all those good cliches. I look for a better ball game from especially Port Huron High going into the 3rd quarter.
Well, Northern fans certainly may be celebrating just a bit early. They're ahead by 20 at halftime. We'll be back in a few moments.